Hello, I am AD Hobbs. And well, as you probably gathered from the visual aid, yes, this concerns the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And it's a lot to take in, so I'll squeeze as much information as I can into the review. And well, I'll start right at the beginning. My earliest memories of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it was, I think I just turned 7, and it was Friday night. I was allowed to go to bed 1 hour after my bedtime because it was Friday night, didn't need to be up early the next day. And my mum and dad were watching this programme. Now, I'd missed the first 5 minutes. So when I watched it, I didn't know it was science fiction at all. No, just a regular story all about two men drinking beer in a pub. Nothing unusual about that. And then suddenly, abruptly, one of them gives loads and loads of money to the landlord, yeah. And I thought that's a bit unusual, yeah. And then after that, Arthur, his house is being smashed down by a big JCB, yeah. And I thought, what the heck is going on? This is bizarre. And then they're both teleported onto a spaceship. So what the heck is going on? There were no spaceships before. Where'd that come from? But it is very well done. It's very funny, and yeah, and you get into it. You're intrigued. In other words, I was just as baffled as Arthur Dent. You know, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. Just woke up a nice ordinary day. This must be Thursday. I can never quite get the hang of Thursdays. Yeah. Anyway, back to the point. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is certainly unique. Yes, a very bizarre, wacky science fiction comedy. Yeah. And when I first saw it, I hadn't seen any Red Dwarf. I hadn't seen any episodes of Mork and Minnie, so this was unlike anything I'd seen before. A comedy space adventure, yeah. And I'll give it 10 out of 10 for unpredictability. You've no idea what on earth is going to happen next. But then that's because Douglas Adams was a big fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus. Yeah, the unpredictability. But, and here's the twist. When you first read this book, yes, there's a whole load of bizarre, wacky stuff here, there, and everywhere that seems to have no connection with the other events at all, so it's unpredictable. But after you've read it a few times, you know all the events are connected, all joined together in one massive plot. Yeah, so it is significant, the stuff that's going on. And yeah, I remember it has quite dry humour in it. Yeah, like well, let me put it this way: in Star Wars, the Death Star destroys the planet Alderaan, not because it's a threat to the power of the Empire. No, just to test if it works. Well, that's a horrible, despicable reason to destroy a planet. In the same way, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Earth is destroyed to make way for a bypass, a hyperspace bypass. Well, that's a horrible reason to destroy an entire civilization. No, that's awful. But in the same way, that's the significance, the beginning of the story. Arthur Dent's house is about to be destroyed to make way for a bypass. And they justify by saying, it's a bypass, you've got to have bypasses. Well, at what price, at what cost, you know, yeah. And which version is best? You see, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, well, it's called that because it's about a book, an electronic book, like a little portable computer, and anything you need to know about hitchhiking or finding your way from one part of the galaxy to the other, you type in a word and it tells you all the information you need. It's an iPad, basically. It's an iPad, yeah. But this story was written in the late 70s. Back then, a portable computer was really high tech and could only have been made by alien intelligence. Nothing like that on Earth exists. It does now. Yeah, yes, we have iPhones and iPods. But just go with it, yeah. At the time, this was state of the art. So effectively, it's a book about an electronic book, yeah. And it was a radio play first, then the book series came out, then a TV version, and then many years later, so like the mid-noughties, I think, it was, then there was a movie version. So which version is best? Well, it's, I'd say the TV version is best. And I know it's a cliche to say that the book is better than the TV. Well, I think they're both good, just in different ways. I'd advise seeing the 1980s TV show version first, then read the book. Because the TV show, it helps it all to all sink in, to visualise all the story better. The movie version, yes, we have improved special effects, but The TV version, it's 6 episodes, each 35 minutes long, and so it helps for all to sink in better. Whereas the movie version is less than 2 hours long, and it's loads and loads of ideas in your face, all squeezed down like that. It's too much to take in one go, yeah. So the pacing of the books and the pacing of the TV show works a lot better, yeah. And, there's sequels, of course, yes. We have to have sequels because not all the events of the radio play, there's not enough room for them in this one book, so they have this sequel here. This sequel's really good. The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, yes. And, the character Ford Prefect, he's a field researcher for the book The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And but he got stranded on Earth for 15 years. Yeah, he can't do any research because there is nothing of any significance on Earth to help. In fact, in the book, the description of the Earth is harmless, and then in the new edition, it's mostly harmless. So therefore, there's 100 billion stars in the galaxy, and nobody knew very much about the Earth. The Earth is quite insignificant as far as the events of the rest of the galaxy are concerned. Or is it? Because later, ironically, we find out the Earth is really significant. It couldn't be more significant, yeah. Why is that then? Well, because the people on the planet Magrathea, they built a supercomputer that it tells you what is the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? And after 7.5 million years, the computer finally comes. The answer is 42. And the Magrathean's like, the meaning of the universe is 42. That doesn't make any sense. And the computer says, no, of course it doesn't, because you don't know what the question is. Well, the question is, what is the answer to life, the universe, everything? Exactly. The answer 42 doesn't make any sense about the question. They said, well, could you please tell us what the question is? So it builds a new computer that's called the Earth. And this takes 10 million years to come up with the ultimate question. But what is the ultimate question to the answer? Well, if you want to know the answer to that, read the sequel. Well, no, I'll rephrase that. If you want to know the question, read the sequel, yeah. And when Arthur finds this out, he's intrigued. So the whole point of planet Earth, it's really a big computer with organic life on it, and to find out the ultimate question. Now I understand why all humans keep questioning things all the time. Yeah, is that part of the program? And Slarty Bartfar says, oh, no, that's just genuine paranoia. Everyone in the universe gets that. That's nothing to do with the Earth, yeah. He goes, well, maybe it means something then. Maybe we should find the answers to all questions to be answered, yeah. And, well, here's a quote that sums it up. When Ford Prefect, he's called that because he thinks Ford Prefect is an Earth name. It isn't. It's the name of a car. Yeah, but he's got his facts a bit wrong. Anyway, when they hitchhike on board the Vogon ship, hence the title, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, yeah, he says to Arthur, here's a towel, Arthur. Take it and guard it with your life. Listen, there's lots of dangers on this adventure. There's lots of space pirates. There's going to be horrible green mutant monsters trying to attack you, rip you to pieces. If you want to survive in this galaxy, you've really got to know where your towel is. Yeah. So in other words, when you get into this story, open your mind. Forget all you've been taught before. Yes, the rules are completely different. In other words, if you met real aliens in real life, no, the rules that apply to TV shows and films would not apply. No, it would be totally alien rules, totally unlike anything you can ever imagine, yeah. So in other words, yes, that's what's intriguing about the story, to open your mind and look at the world and the galaxy in a whole new way, yeah. Okay, cynicism time now. I do like the character Zaphod Beeblebrox. He's the president of the galaxy. He invented the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, and how he's stolen the Heart of Gold because he wants to use the improbability drive to discover lots of stuff. Okay, fair enough. And he has 2 heads. But one of the heads barely ever speaks, but barely does anything. So what is the point of having 2 heads? I mean, when I was a kid, there was a cartoon character that had 2 heads, but they had different personalities and sometimes would argue with each other, but they were 2 different entities that shared the same body, yeah. Whereas Zaphod Beeblebrox, his other head doesn't really do anything, so you can't have 2 heads and not do anything. You can't have a gimmick like that and not do anything, so that's a bit silly. That's a bit of a wasted opportunity there. Well, at one point in the story it says that Zaphod has such a big ego, it's not enough to fit into one head. Yeah, that's all great, but No, I think it's a bit silly having two heads and one head barely does anything. Yeah, and then Ford sits Zaphod down, and says, "Why did you steal the heart of gold? Was it to find Magrathea? I stole the heart of gold spaceship for lots of things. Well, what are you looking for? I don't know what I'm looking for. What do you mean? If I knew what it was I was looking for, I wouldn't be able to look for it." So, in other words, Zaphod, he loves to travel all over the place, and just he doesn't know what he's looking for, just anything at random, whatever's out there, whatever's available, yeah. And that's the theme of unpredictability back in the story, yeah. Trillian, the only other survivor from planet Earth. Oh yeah, when the intelligent mice want to steal Arthur's brain because they need the Earth program, why don't they steal Trillian's brain? She's from Earth. Why don't they steal the dolphins' brains? They're from Earth, so that the program would be in their brains as well. Well, that issue is never discussed, yeah. Anyway, okay, oh yes, and Marvin the paranoid android. Why is he so paranoid? Well, because the idea of giving robots personality to make them more relatable, yeah. Ironically, it backfired because he's so manically depressed, he's not relatable to the people at all. So that's a running gag there. Okay, I'll wrap this up by saying I love this story because it's unpredictable and this great buddy feeling, all buddies together, the whole gang's together, a bit like going on a night on the town with your friends or going on a pub crawl. Yeah, well, the great buddy feeling of travelling and not knowing what to find or what to expect, yeah. So it gives it the feel-good factor. It's a great sci-fi space adventure. And although there's lots of silly nonsense, there's also some quite profound views in there as well, like on religion, where evidence that God exists proves he doesn't exist, and yeah, trying to find out the meaning of life, why we're all here. So it's a mixture of thought-provoking ideas and silly nonsense, but the two different things blend together well. There were a lot of sequels. I think there was only intended to be one sequel originally, but then afterwards we've got all these other ones here. But the first two books are definitely the best in the series. Okay, well, if you're going to read any of the books, at least read the first one. This is the best one of the 5 books, yeah. So I highly recommend The Hitch-Hiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.